What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the New York Knicks MyLeague. And today we bring you the first offseason, an important one for an upstart team like the New York Knicks, who played their way all the way to the third seed last year before getting knocked out in the second round of the playoffs. So let's get underway here with our final sim. The Oklahoma City Thunder made it out of the West, but they were beaten by the Miami Heat in a rematch of the 2011-12 NBA Finals, one of those 2 years. So congratulations to Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat. Dwayne Wade would win the Finals MVP for the Miami Heat in this particular playoff run. Next, you can see the list of retirements followed by the Hall of Fame players. Ray Allen, a role player on our team last year, did retire, and he would also make the Hall of Fame, as you'll see here in a moment when we do show the Hall of Fame. A very solid class with many great names: Tim Duncan, Dirk, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Steve Nash, all fantastic NBA players. Now here I'm going to show a little bit of the draft lottery. Now, we did not make the lottery, obviously, as a playoff team. We didn't have anyone else's first round pick or anything. We had our own. We were picking 24th, as you'll see in a minute. But the top three of the playoff lottery went very interestingly. The Wizards jumped all the way from, I think, 9th up to number 1 right here, and it said every pick was supposed to go to the Wizards before that. So it's really showing off how the draft lottery is different in modern editions of the NBA draft, as opposed to before, where it was pretty much just, worst team gets the best chance at the first pick. Obviously, that's not the case this year, as the Wizards, Lakers, Nets, Kings, and Nuggets would compromise the top 5. You can see the lottery there, as well as the rest of the first round. And now for most people's favorite part of the offseason, the NBA draft. So we did not have a top pick. I'm going to show a very streamlined version of the top 3 picks, because I think the draft presentation in this year is severely overblown and drawn out, but at the same time, watching the first few picks is very interesting, and knowing who went places. So Ben Simmons is stolen by the Wizards with the number 1 pick, went to LSU. He's an 82 overall. I'm going to show basically what the player was and what their overall was. So Jaylen Brown went second to the Lakers. He was a 77 overall, pretty good player. But then the Nets really whiffed on this pick. I thought Chris Dunn only ended up being a 70 overall. It must be very disappointing for that team. And for a late first-round pick, we actually had a lot of offers for our pick, and we ended up trading the pick because there wasn't really anyone I wanted. The Raptors and Celtics both got people that I wanted around 17, 18. I was going to try and trade up, but this trading system's severely broken, and it's pretty much 2 picks ahead by the time you actually trade for a pick. So I ended up trading our pick for Nick Young. I think Nick Young can really replace a lot of Ray Allen's and Sasha Vujicic's production off the bench last year. Sasha Vujicic really faded down the stretch, but still provided us with a big scoring threat, and that's what Ray Allen really was too. And I think that that's what Nick Young can really provide with his great three-point shooting and scoring knack and athleticism. Even at 31 years old, he's on an expiring deal, but I'm not really concerned about that, because I think if we wanted him back enough, we could probably get him back. But it'll really replace a lot of the production, and he was kind of the player that I needed or would have wanted with that pick anyway. So I really thought that it was a solid trade to do with the Los Angeles Lakers. They got an extra pick to help out their rebuild and got rid of an expiring, expensive veteran who can assist a team looking to be a good team and make the playoffs. So I made this trade with the Lakers. So without any rookies to sign, we were on to options, and it went exactly the opposite of how I hoped. I was hoping Aflalo would turn down his option so we didn't have to pay him $8 million because of our depth on the wings, and I was hoping that Biyombo would accept his. Here's a full list of the players who took or declined their options, and the teams who declined options as well or accepted. So I was hoping that Aflalo would turn it down, but now we're past the point where we can trade him. We couldn't trade him at the draft because he was still not under contract. Going through qualifying offers now, we don't have any, and I think all of our free agents, my early idea was I was going to let everyone test the market except for Biyombo, but Biyombo wants to test the market, so I'm not going to rule out bringing anyone back, but as of right now, everyone is testing free agency on our team. Now, free agency had some interesting names, and I was honestly thinking about going after Kobe Bryant because he was available, but he wanted way too much money for the role he'd be playing. I wanted to get rid of Aflalo because we had too much depth on the wings, and I'd want Kobe Bryant, honestly, as a bench player. He's a very bad defender, and we have Avery Bradley for that, and Avery Bradley's also a better shooter. Avery Bradley's more of what I want out of the shooting guard position. Kobe Bryant's a lot more of just a player who can score. I would have had him coming off the bench probably. So I was kind of looking at the roster, and I saw another guy available, Hassan Whiteside, who pretty much outplayed our team in the playoffs, really exposed our starting lineup's weaknesses. And I was kind of looking at everyone on the team and thinking, what am I going to end up getting rid of? what am I gonna need, what am I gonna have to keep, how is my bench gonna be constructed. And I thought that everything was kind of set except for that center position, because Robin Lopez was very shaky at the position last year. He could score, but he wasn't the greatest rebounder or interior defender, and our team really was not a good rebounding team last year. We didn't block a lot of shots in the simulation, and I was trying to trade Aaron Aflalo here, but I did not realize you can't trade during free agency still. I thought that was something that would have been changed by this point in the franchise's history, but we decided to go after Hassan Whiteside, thinking we can package Aaron Aflalo and Robin Lopez in a deal if Hassan Whiteside signs with us, and if not, what will we be out? Nothing. We tried to go after a good free agent. Although first I was looking at Bismack Biyombo, thinking I wanted Bismack Biyombo back, and I was wondering what his price was before I went after any free agents, and it would not show me his interest, which is actually kind of good. I was trying to figure out what his kind of market was, and I gave him pretty much what his player option had been, which was about $3.5 million. I think that he turned down, and I was going to give him a second, third-year player option too, because I thought he was worth the investment. But because I couldn't see the interest, he declined the offer right away because he did not want it. So I upped it a little bit, and I kind of left it sitting there for a while. And then I was going back and forth for a few different bench options, and then I eventually went all the way back to Hassan Whiteside, and he was the right combination of age. He's only 27. His skill set is very much what I want out of my center position, and he only wanted about $10 million a year, roughly $10 million a year. And I made it a flat contract and gave him $10 million every year instead of the contract he wanted before would have been increasing in increments. And I thought that was a very solid contract, especially for a player of his caliber. I kept looking back at Kobe Bryant too, but Hassan Whiteside takes our offer right away, and of course we are going to sign him for that nominal amount of money. It's very small. And then we would eventually go back to Bismack Biyombo, and I would offer him a 1-year deal with our remaining cap space, which I believe was around 3.8 or 9 million. I was kind of looking at some other options for interior defense, but no one had the kind of combination of defense and rebounding that I wanted besides Kendrick Perkins. And Perkins was a little older, not as big of a guarantee that he would stay productive or healthy throughout the season. So I decided to go back to Bismack Biyombo, and we'd sim a couple days here, and he would take the 1-year $3.9 million offer. Now we are into player progression, and I had a few surprises and a few disappointments. So Kristaps Porzingis went up 3 overall points, and he also improved his jump shot and rebounding. Patrick Beverley went down in a couple categories, which I thought was mildly confusing. And a few players really stayed stagnant. Nick Young didn't progress at all, obviously. Melo and Robin Lopez all stayed the same. I was really disappointed that Jerry Grant didn't really progress at all. Bismack Biyombo surprisingly went up 2 overall points. So he really was, honestly, Robin Lopez was someone I decided had to go at that point because he couldn't even be a backup center. 1, he was making way too much money, and 2, he is, 2 overall points less for 6 times or 4 or 5 times the amount of money we're paying for a player whose skill set doesn't really match what I want out of a backup center. And also, servicing Bismack Biyombo is not a huge drop-off in skill. So I thought, what do I have to lose from using Robin Lopez's trade bait? That's what we decided to do. We went to the trade finder and entered Robin Lopez and Aaron Aflalo, and there's some very interesting offers here. We got Nerlens Noel, if we threw in an extra second-round pick, Jeff Green, Willie Cauley-Stein, and a first-round pick, which I kind of thought was a heisting deal. I wouldn't have definitely taken out that first-round pick. Justin Anderson in a first-round pick, Kenneth Faried, CJ Miles. Really, the first-round pick is the draw to that. And I circled all the way back around to Kelly Olynyk after a while. Now, the original deal suggestion included Avery Bradley, but I really knew that I could take Avery Bradley out because Avery Bradley for Kelly Olynyk would have worked straight up. But I wanted to do the salary dump too, so we decided to take Avery Bradley off, looked at Kelly Olynyk for a bit, and decided that he was ultimately the player that I wanted. And so we would send the trade through, and of course the Celtics agreed. The second major move we made with them in the last couple off seasons. And so that pretty much wraps up this first off season of the New York Knicks MyLeague in NBA 2K16. I'm going to leave you with a clip of depth veterans that we signed for our rotation to have, or our roster to have enough people. It's really, I'm going to condense the clip down, but it's, I believe, Raymond Felton, Kendrick Perkins, who I looked at earlier anyway, Meta World Peace are the 3 that would make the roster, and then beyond that, I really was just signing people for depth. So we could have a team going into the season, and for injury purposes, obviously. So thank you guys for watching, and next episode will be the first game of the second season against the Milwaukee Bucks once again. So thank you guys for watching, and see you later.